project was the effects divorce has on children. Some parents might feel relieved about divorce. More often than not, the children are left scared and hopeless. Sometimes a parent will turn to the child for support or advice regarding the event when the child is invariably suffering. Basically, sometimes the parent will see the child as the missing love that they've now lost in the divorce. So now they'll go to the child with all those sad stories and everything else that they might be feeling, and that puts a lot of pressure on the kid. But with the parents, they tend to not notice because they're going through all of their own stuff. And a study was done, and most parents said that they looked back fondly on their decision to divorce. Meanwhile, their kids all said that they did not look back fondly on it. It was done at a poor time, it was done poorly, parents never told. When considering getting a divorce, parents often ask, should we stay together for the children? How would the children handle this if it were to happen? What would they think? If mom and dad were to stay together and are civil, and if either is sad or lonely, but they could still avoid. Marriage statistics are and the kids that grow up with no father figure are usually more feminine, especially the boys, and the girls that grow up with no father figure usually seek out relationships in all the wrong places. Meanwhile, the girls that grow up with no mother figure are always yearning for that love. These are effects that divorce divorce can have on the kids. They're dealing with the parents' sadness, so the parent will come to them with their sadness and take it out on them and cry to them. Meanwhile, they don't realize that they're crying to a 10-year-old who has no concept of these things, and now that 10-year-old is forced to grow up in a matter of, I don't know, a week or a month. Meanwhile, the 10-year-old is still trying to get over the fact that their parents have split up, mommy and daddy are no longer together, and it's now coming to form the realization that it is not their fault. And they're dealing with their own sadness, the child, and wondering what happened and were they at fault. And just as I said, feeling like they were the reason this happened, and they're trying to understand what a divorce actually is. So communication. They tear the child apart and start brainwashing the kid, or try to get the kid to like them better than the other parent, try to pull them away from the other parent. But a real factor on this is the child's age and whether or not you communicate with them. Which is impacted depends on how the parent goes with the divorce to be amicable and friends and be able to be with each other. Like, they just, as long as be in the same teacher. And if it is a marriage full of hatred, then the child will more than likely grow up not knowing how to have a real relationship. But if it is amicable and both parties are able to at least speak to each other, then the child should grow up with no ramifications. And usually another factor on them would be their age, which I'll talk about next. And sometimes parents can't do it because they wait so long to get a divorce and they're not amicable anymore, and they tear the child apart and start brainwashing the kid, or try to get the kid to like them better than the other parent, try to pull them away from the other parent. But a real factor on this is the child's age and whether or not you communicate with them. And then this is just a video that shows the adults that did go through divorce when they were younger, shows them and how they feel, and how, after it happened, didn't even like their dad anymore, or didn't see him in the same light. On kids 0 to 2 years old, they're too young to comprehend exactly what's going on, but these kids tend to mirror their parents' feelings, which are hostility, tiredness, crankiness, crying. And if you have a divorce where both parents are amicable, then the child should be just fine. Probably a little confused, but they should still be fine. But if you have one that is built on hate and hostility, the child will pick up on the hate and the hostility and will cry and be a little bit more difficult than they would have been when they were first born. And they'll act out by usually being a little bit harder to deal with. Toddlers still too young to understand, but they'll feel sad and lonely, and they'll wonder why their life is changing and why one parent is moving out, and whether that one parent doesn't love them anymore, if maybe they were to blame for it, that maybe they could do to fix it, they could buy somebody a present, that you guys did this because of them. And they'll even start to go through regression, where they might start wetting the bed or thumb sucking or doing anything else that brings them back to their childhood of, infancy, and try to bring their parents back together again. They'll feel like it's their duty to bring the mommy and daddy back together again. Ages 6 to 8 is they'll start to feel angry and sad, and they'll want the other parent. They'll show this anger through temper tantrums, and this is usually the age where they'll need you the most and need you to come to them and talk to them. And if you don't, they will tend to harbor this hostility towards you and your significant other, and they often blame themselves for everything that's going on and believe that you guys did this because of them, that they were too difficult to handle, that even for the most minor reason of that they drew on the walls earlier in the day, that it caused mommy and daddy to split up. They also need constant reassurance from the parent because their self-confidence has gone down, which this will then impact their future relationships and be able to build a healthy relationship with somebody. They also tend to mirror the responsibilities of the missing parent. Like if the dad is gone, they'll start to take out the trash because they'll feel like the mom needs a man around the house. This is the age where they kind of now understand feelings and understand the different feelings, and not that anything is good and bad anymore. Now they can feel like frustrated and why they're frustrated, and they can give you these reasons, and they have the ability to see each parent's point of view and not just the overall picture of mommy and daddy did this because of me. They usually create a good parent and a bad parent, and this is usually when that parental alienation syndrome will start. And they're also going through puberty, so hormones are insane. And they'll likely manipulate and play parents against one another, and if you play into it, that could be quite damaging. And usually the girls will manipulate the dads against the mom, and the parental alienation syndrome will begin with them because of their hormones and them not being able to control them and not knowing what's going on, and they'll usually only see one parent's point of view, so again, communication is very key. Parental alienation syndrome. This is where parents try to pit the child against the other parent, and it usually happens during custody battles, but sometimes it can just happen just because you have one bitter parent that for one reason or another feels that if they could just get the child to hate the other parent, it would be the best thing in the world. And more often than not, if you get the child early enough, or in the years I was just previously talking about, you have the ability to brainwash the child and have them come to hate their mother or father, and will even join you in bashing that parent. And examples of this are, this divorce is your mom or dad's fault, this wouldn't be happening if they didn't do this, go tell your mom or dad this for me because, they're not talking, so they'll make them the go-between. And that's another thing, kind of, is that kids get lost in the mix in all of this. They tend to be the parents go-between. If there is a hostile divorce, they are, you need to tell your mom this because every time I talk to her, she lashes out at me. You need to tell your dad this because I just can't talk to him. And that doesn't create a good picture of the parent for the child. So you're creating this image in your child's, and you should be one unit of parenting, because if you give this child, as in you guys are two separate units, they'll play that against each other. They're not. These are two videos of examples of how parents can, pit people against each other, and they're basically the games parents play after a divorce. The first video is the story of a little girl and how she was caught in her parents' divorce, and I thought it was adorable, and I think you should definitely watch it. Then the second one is on What Would You Do? It's a TV show, but it does show like what some of these kids do go through. It's parents blaming the child for the divorce, and I know it's fake, but it's not fake to some of these other kids. It's real. Like every day that they get up, they are told, "You're the reason for this divorce. If your mom and I never had you, we would have never gotten divorced. We were so much happier before we had you." And children do cause us stress in a relationship, but never stress enough that it causes hatred for your significant other like that. And if it does, you should never tell a child that. And these are the videos showing parents' games. In the teenage years, you don't have consistency in your parenting. It's going to show, and they will take advantage of it as teenagers. They will ask mom if they could do something, and if mom says no, go back to dad, and if dad says, oh, what did mom say? They'll be like, oh no, mom said okay, and then they'll do it. They'll always try to find the best situation for them. Manipulation starts earlier, but they become better at it. And usually this is where you have to make sure that you are one consistent unit in parenting. Otherwise, other things may happen, such as they act out of frustration and anger in other ways other than communication, such as drinking and substance abuse and finding love in older people, and it's more prevalent in people of divorce. And children whose parents divorced during these years are much more likely to use drugs, because during these years you're not as likely to speak about your feelings as you were when you were younger. You're more like, woe is me, and the world is against me, so my parents must have done this because it was something I did. So these kids tend to use drugs and to fill that void that was left by the parent. During this time, involvement with substance abuse is continuing from the earlier age, but they're doing it to avoid all conflict now, not just conflict at home. It's if there's a problem at work, they'll get a drink because that's what suits them. If there's a problem at work, they'll go get some type of drug because it just makes them feel better. It makes them forget about their problems. If there's still problems at home, they'll usually leave. Children who are brought up in a hostile environment of like parents that stay together but fight, or even parents that are divorced, tend to move out earlier if it is hostile, because they're looking for peace. They don't really know what home is, and they're trying to find it. They tend to develop relationships with others, and that's because they never really had a relationship. and don't really know what it is and have always just been playing games with their parents, so they don't really necessarily have anything to build off of.